Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Roborock. This is their Qrevo Master. Roborock did send me the sample, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging, highlighting some of its key features right here. FlexiArm, side brush, and mop. Duo roller riser brush, 10,000 pascals of suction power. Their reactive AI obstacle avoidance. We got Hello Rocky built-in voice assistant and multifunctional self-cleaning dock. They expand upon those features on the side of the box, as well as the back side, and on this side as well. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. First up, we have our product literature, a really nice, massive quick start guide that's easy to read with everything you need to get up and running. They also have a full user guide and manual, safety instructions, voice control setup, and we have an overall breakout diagram here of each individual part and component clearly labeled for us, which is great. Next, we have our accessories. We have the base plate for the station. That'll just snap in place. We have our power cord. Take a look at both sides here. Extra vacuum bag. Our mop pads and modules right here. Microfiber Velcro for those that are interested. They're washable and replaceable. Next up is the vacuum. Starting at the top, 2 control buttons, LiDAR navigation module with Roborock's logo and branding, and it even says intelligent voice assistant. We have a cover that's removable, just 2 magnets that reveals the dustbin. We have a reset button there too. The dustbin's removable, has instructions for cleaning and care, so you can give it proper maintenance. On this side of the dustbin, you can also pop open this cover to remove the filter to get access to replace. And if you ever need to manually empty the dustbin or you want to do a deep clean, that's how you're going to get access right there. There's a look with the dustbin removed. Looking at the vacuum from the very front, we have our reactive AI with a warning about your privacy protections. With the removable sticker, you've got to take this off before use. Here's a look at the reactive AI obstacle recognition branding. Get a feel for the bumper. This is where the contents will self-empty, so we can actually open that up if you wanted. On the back side, charging contacts, water inlet right there. Some additional sensors. Got some venting there. Here's a look at the other side of the bumper with the sensor built in. And then we're back to the very front. Looking at the bottom, front and center, we got the duo roller riser system here. And we can easily pop this cover off if needed to detangle and replace. And then it just snaps right back in place. 2 spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel, multiple cliff sensors. Here's our side cleaning brush that extends out. So look at that extension to reach in those hard to reach corners and areas around your house. That'll just kick out automatically there. And then here's where the 2 mopping modules will be installed. And on this side, this mop is going to be able to extend out. So that one kicks out. If you can see with that track there, the other one's going to stay stationary. And that's a look at the underside. And here's a top-down view of the FlexiArm design extending out from the top of the vacuum so you can see how far it's going to be able to reach out to the front and to the side. I love the FlexiArm design. Too cool. And last but not least, we have our cleaning station here with our dirty and clean water tanks clearly labeled for us, and they are removable. There's a look inside with both units removed. Here's your close-up of the dirty water tank from all sides and angles. And we can open it up to reveal inside the float system here, letting us know when it's full. Here's your close-up of the clean water tank from all sides and angles. There's a max fill line right there, labeled for us up at the top. And we can open this one up. It's a little bit different on the inside for the clean water. Now we're looking at the front of the station. We have our indicator light there with the multifunctional dock branding, Roborock's branding down here. This cover does remove, so you can just gently pop it off from the side. We have some plastic to remove on it. Inside reveals the vacuum bag, which is already installed. Very easy to pull those out and remove and install your new bag, just like that. Down below, this is where all the magic happens. It self-empties, it charges, it refills itself, it washes, cleans, and dries itself right here. We have a sticker to remove this plate. So we can pop that out. And this is very easy to wash and clean and then reinstall back in the unit. Here's your left side view. Here's your right side view. Here's a look at the very back. So we have our power plug right there, clearly labeled for us. And it plugs in on the side. That's going to help save some space and allow this to be flush up against wall, furniture, table, things like that. Built-in cable management here and a channel to route it along both sides of the device. And now we're looking at the underneath. So this is the back side. This is the front side. You'll notice we have multiple screws that we can remove this cover. If we ever have any clogs in the self-empty system, we can remove those Phillips head screws and get easy access to clean and declog if you ever run into any issues. And don't forget about your ramp plate that you're gonna need that just snaps and clips right onto the very front. Now the station's all set up. Now it's time to charge it up, fill it up, and try it out. We just finished our real world cleaning. Let's take a look at the results. We'll start with the removable tray. This looks great. Now I did take it off pretty quickly afterwards, so you probably won't even see as much moisture or if any on yours. Don't forget this piece is removable as well too. So take a look at the inside with that removed. And then right here, you'll notice on this little filter, that's where you're gonna probably see a couple of hairs and things like that collect over time. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that right there. And this is all washable and rinsable and very removable and easy to clean. Now looking at the vacuum, we're gonna start with the dust bin. I did make sure that it wouldn't self-empty so we could see everything without it being in the vacuum bag. So take a look at that. Already full here. We got a lot of hair and look at that really fine dirt and dust right there. We're gonna dump out all the contents inside without making hopefully too big of a mess. There's a look at the filter. So some really fine dirt and dust already starting to collect in there. Here, I'm gonna hit that filter. Look at that inside there. All of that being trapped in there. That's not being exhausted back out through your home, which is great to see. And then we'll take that big clump, pet hair, human hair, all the contents of my house. Got a sticker, a lot of pine needles from our Christmas tree. I see some Play-Doh in there. Dog hair, human hair, Christmas tree needles, a bead, food. You get the idea. This is what you can realistically expect to vacuum up with your Roborock. That brings us to the underside of the vacuum so we can look at the main brush rollers. For all that hair that we vacuumed up, there are no noticeable tangles, which is great to see. We do have some really fine dirt and dust already starting to build up in the brush rollers, so keep an eye on that. You might want to wash those off every once in a while. They're really doing a good job agitating and getting everything up and off your floors. We can pop this open, and there we go. All right, we have some hair tangles. Human hair building up along the sides right here, but you can cut that away, and we have that on both. And then underneath, you'll notice we have some hair starting to accumulate there. I'm guessing maybe if it got a little wet or damp from vacuuming and mopping. That's my guess there, but just keep an eye on that. Not a big deal. Some shag rug threads there. So that'll be the point of maintenance. You want to keep an eye on that if you notice any tangles yourself. No hair tangled around here, which is cool to see. I do see some dust. And looking at the mop pads, they look brand new still, as you would expect, since it washes, cleans, and dries them. If for some reason you want a deeper clean or you want to replace the mop pads, don't forget you can just peel them off, put them in the wash, or swap them out with some new ones. And then looking at the side of the vacuum, we just have some dust already starting to collect on the bumper and along the front. Sensors there for their reactive AI. So just keep an eye on that. Over time, you'll just want to make sure that you dust everything off and keep it nice and clean. Now, here's a brief overview of the Roborock app. We have our Qrevo Master set up here. We can just select it from the top. That takes us into basically the full device menu and settings here. So up at the top, we have our previous cleaning stats and our current battery percentage. Take a look at the map here. It identifies obstacles. Pretty cool. Then you'll see here, we got a shoe, and that's right. That was me filming it. Shows you the confidence, all of that. So really cool. So very detailed map. You can see the layout of all the rooms here. We also have some more obstacles here. Man, and that got it. Both of those, chair and TV stand. So smart, it's learning, it's mapping, it's taking those images if you want it to. But anyways, we'll look at the bottom really quick. We got multiple tabs, so you can choose to do a full clean, room clean, zone clean, or set up a routine here. So you can do all of that. We'll go back. We'll look at the full clean for a second so we can see our different settings for vacuuming and mopping. Smart plan, so we can use Roborock's smart plan right here. So AI will handle it for you. Or we can do vacuum and mop, and then we can adjust suction power settings and water flow levels, as well as how many times we want it to clean. And we can choose standard, or we can choose a fast cleaning mode. We have mop only mode, and you have different route options for mop only, all the way up to high intensity deep plus, to the fastest option, or anywhere in between. Next, we have vacuum only. There's all of your suction power settings, quiet all the way up to max plus. And then we have customize, so basically we can choose different cleaning settings for each room, and we can edit that right there. Next up on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll find our map editing icon, and we have a little video camera. If you want to do live video monitoring, you can use this to drive it and look around your house, which is pretty neat. Capture a couple of quick snaps or videos if you want. We also have the map editing option. This is where you'll set up things like no-go zones, so we can add invisible walls, or we can set up barriers, and you can add multiples of each of those. Just choose areas around your house where you don't want it to go. Maybe there's a decoration there, something you always keep on the floor. Maybe it's just a sensitive area for whatever reason. You don't want the vacuum going over there to vacuum or mop. That's how you're going to configure that. That'll be on a case-by-case basis. Then we also have things like editing the room, right? You can merge, divide, rename. You can edit the surfaces as well as add furniture. You can build that out on your map if you want. We also have our map details, 2D or 3D, and all of your viewing options. Maybe you don't want to see the obstacles on your map. You don't have to. I like to, so I leave that available to view. Back here too, you'll notice we can have multiple maps, so we can back up, restore, delete, and then we can hit that map button and we can do a quick mapping or a clean and map if we're taking it to a new area. Think upstairs, downstairs, things along those lines. And in the top right-hand corner, we have all of our device settings, so we can see our cleaning history. So we'll look at that here. We'll go look at our full clean. Here's the full clean. Shows you the area, the time, how many times it washed the mop. You can see some of the obstacles there. Pretty cool. So very detailed and thorough. We'll see what it shows here. We got a little box on the map and a shoe and a power cord. That's all true. Further down, we have our schedule and floor cleaning settings. This is where we can enable or disable features like the mop extend or the FlexiArm during vacuuming. Pet area deep cleaning, clean along the floor direction. They have really customizable options here. And then we have our dock settings. This is where we get all of our dock controls. We can adjust the mop wash frequency and mode. Dustbin, we can set the auto empty frequency, auto drying duration, self-cleaning for the cleaning tray. Reactive obstacle avoidance, we can fine tune this a little bit here. If you want those photos or not, again, you can opt into it. Your collision mode options, pet snaps, you get the idea, but very, very customizable. Maintenance, this is nice where it shows you when it's time to replace certain parts and components. And then you'll find some more device settings here. This is the manage maps. So again, this does support multi-level mapping, and you can edit your maps here and create new maps. We have our voice assistant. If you want to enable the voice assistant, you can do that here, and they walk you through the different voice commands. Remote viewing, again, live video monitoring. You can drive it around the house. AI laboratory, go ahead, check this out for any features. We toggled that one on for the FlexiArm. Then we have more of our device settings. This is going to be things like child lock, do not disturb. If you want to turn on off-peak charging, adjust your units. And then we have our pin and go settings. So you can drop a pin on the map. It'll go over to that spot. You can drive this if you want. Buttons or joystick, up to you. Spot clean and return to home. And then everything else can be your typical user manual, firmware updates, device sharing, and then lastly, you can delete the device right there. So a very detailed and thorough mobile app with high customization options. Moving along, let's see how our Qrevo Master stacks up against the competition. I've personally tested over 90, yes, you heard me right, over 90 different robot vacuum cleaners, and we've built out a database here of our findings, of specs, and features, so we can compare all these vacuums to each other so you can get a better feel for the value of this particular vacuum compared to the competition. So first up, we always look at cost. This will be a good frame of reference to go into all the data that we're about to look at to know upfront what you are paying for this product compared to your average robot vacuum cleaner, and hopefully through that lens you can gauge for yourself with more clarity where this sits compared to all the other vacuums. Specifically for our Master here in regards to cost, you'll notice that it's going to cost hundreds of dollars more than your average typical robot vacuum cleaner, so we want to make sure that we're getting above average performance and features for that price. And we're off to a good start with our max suction power. This comes in at 10,000 pascals of suction power. I would say that flagship top of the line territory starts at about 8,000 and goes up to that 12, 13, 14,000 range. So very respectable to get 10,000 pascals. The higher the better, because that usually is a good leading indicator for actual real world performance. And you'll notice we're almost double the average. And we want to see the same thing with max CFM. Now, we record this result in house, so the higher the better. Again, another key indicator for how it's actually going to perform on carpets and throughout your house in the real world. So we got 7.8. That's almost a full point above average, which is also great to see. But actually putting our numbers to the test, you'll notice in our carpet deep cleaning test, we also got an above average score. We embed coffee grounds in the carpet and measure the results before and after. And in this case, we're 3 points above the average. I was expecting slightly better scoring than even what we saw here. And I do want to mention that we actually did pick up even more coffee grounds, but it wasn't technically in the dustbin, which didn't count towards this total. So 90 at a baseline, but you might be able to get 95 or even closer to that perfect score if it all would be in the dustbin versus just collected on that little lip of the vacuum. Just something I wanted to point out, but we are above average there, but I wanted to see it even higher. Next is decibels. This is how loud the vacuum is. We always measure this on the highest suction setting on carpets with any sort of carpet boost and everything enabled, just to see how loud this vacuum will be at its loudest point. It peaked at 76 decibels. The average is 72. Those 4 extra decibels aren't really going to equate to anything that you would notice in an environment with a 72 decibel vacuum versus a 76 decibel vacuum. It's louder on paper, but realistically, you wouldn't notice it being any louder than the other vacuum if they're both in the room. They're both going to be noticeable vacuuming. Next up is battery life measured in minutes, 180-minute runtime compared to the average of 167. So it's great to see that we're above average here where it counts. Why spend all that money for a vacuum if it's not even going to be able to run that long? You don't want to see compromises in battery, especially again towards that flagship territory. So it's great that we have that extra 13 minutes of runtime. And the reason we get that extra runtime is due to the larger battery capacity, 5,200 milliamp hours compared to the average of 4,000 milliamp hours. Typically on a vacuum like this, we expect 5,200. Sometimes you may even get a 6,400 milliamp hour battery on certain flagship models. In regards to height, this is well within the height you'd expect for a LiDAR equipped vacuum, right around that 4-inch mark. Our average actually skews lower because there's a lot of models, typically on the more budget-friendly side, that are not equipped with LiDAR, so they can be a little bit shorter to get under more pieces of furniture around your house. But realistically, it's not going to be that much of a difference in my opinion. I'd much rather have LiDAR navigation than to not have it and have a subpar navigational experience, which is not the case with this vacuum because it's equipped with, you guessed it, LiDAR. Next, we have self-empty. This vacuum is equipped with self-empty, and that is an essential feature in my opinion. It's kind of like buying a car without wheels. What's the point? So definitely get self-empty if you can swing it, regardless of the model or price point that you're at. We've seen self-empty in 68% of the vacuums that we've tested. Along those lines, with self-empty comes our dustbin capacity. You want to find a larger internal dustbin capacity on your robot vacuum if it's not equipped with self-empty. This vacuum does have self-empty, so it's a moot point because you're not emptying it yourself. But if you were to empty this dustbin yourself, you want it to be larger so you're making less trips to empty it. For those wondering if you haven't already caught on, this also has mopping. We've seen that in 67% of the vacuums that we've tested. And in regards to mopping, same thing. If you don't have the ability to refill, wash, clean, and dry, you want to have a larger internal water tank on your vacuum so you are making less trips to your sink and faucet to refill it up. This does have all those capabilities, so it's kind of a moot point. But for those interested, 80 milliliter internal water tank capacity compared to the average of 210, but that skews higher for vacuums that can't go back and wash themselves or refill. And speaking of washing, this has hot water washing, which is a great feature to help break down even more residue and stains. The water taps out at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's actually 14 degrees Fahrenheit below the average, but still really respectable for what it is. And if your vacuum is equipped with a mopping system, you definitely want to get one that has some sort of mop lifting management. In this case, it's able to lift up the mop pads 10 millimeters off the ground. So it's going to help maintain minimal contact, hopefully no contact with your carpets, but depending on your carpets and flooring, minimal contact with your carpets and rugs. That's right at the average of 10 millimeters. The higher, the better here, especially if you're sensitive to that or really care about your mops making contact with your carpets and rugs. And this mopping system is definitely on the more advanced side with Mop Extend. We love that feature to help get along corners, baseboards, all that good stuff. Only 14% of the vacuums that we've tested that have mopping have Mop Extend. It's definitely a feature that if you can go for it with your budget, you would not regret it. Very nice to have. Now, a feature absent from this that we've seen and grown to like on other models, specifically from Dreamy's lineup, is mop removal. So Dreamy's vacuums, some of their flagship ones that this competes with, like the X30 or the X40, are capable of dispatching their mop plates at the station, going out and vacuuming and then coming back and putting them back on, all done automatically. We've only seen that in about 3% of the models out there, but we really like it. And then our robot takes a different approach. approach, they actually have their vacuum lift the mop up and out of the way and store it on top of the vacuum. That system's really cool to watch, but it seems overly complex for what it is. We'd much rather have a system where it's able to just leave the mops behind at the station, then come back and put them back on automatically. Really cool tech out there, guys. It's amazing what they're able to accomplish with robots today. And I just mentioned iRobot. Well, iRobot's known for basically their Aeroforce cleaning system, which uses a dual rubber brush system. The good news here, Roborock has their very own duo roller system included with this model. It's called the Duo Roller Riser system. So we have two rubber brushes that agitate and help get all of the dirt and debris up and off your floor. I really like these systems. They do a good job. We're only seeing that though in 26% of models out there. This skews higher to iRobot's product lineup, and we have seen that feature come on board with multiple Roborock models in the last year or so. And they actually take this system a step further with what I'm calling main brush lifting. The main brush and roller system on this vacuum is able to lift up and out of the way. That can be really important to some of you out there that have messy floors that you're mopping and you want to have minimal contact. This will help keep everything clean and dry on your vacuum rollers and in the dustbin. So 3% of vacuums out there that we've tested have this feature so far. We'll see that trickle down to more and more vacuums in the future, but it's really a nice touch. Not only can it lift its main brush, it can also extend and kick out its side brush to reach into corners and hard to reach areas around your house, just maximizing its effectiveness and clean. And it does a really nice job. That feature's so cool. And I like that we have some controls within the app for it. And speaking of app, we also have an LED light that we can control within the app as well too. You have an auto mode and an off mode. So in low light environments, it will add that LED fill light so it can properly see and sense the environment. And last but not least, we have live video monitoring, so you can access the onboard camera here and navigate around your house using it more like a home security device to patrol while you're out of the home. I do want to point out though, for this particular model, we have not found a way to take photos or videos. So you have live functionality, but it's a little bit more limited than other models that we see that offer this feature where you can snap photos and videos. With all that being said, let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. So no surprise with the Roborock Qrevo Master. It does a great job mopping, cleaning, vacuuming, drying itself, taking care of itself at the station. It's really hands-free and automated, which is what you want when you're making an investment in a vacuum like this. Specifically too, I noted that the station tray washing is a cool feature, fast charging, quick mapping. You'll notice compared to some of the competitors out there, they take a while to map your house and surroundings. That's not the case with Roborock vacuum, so they're very efficient and logical in how they process your environment. And you can't forget about the side brush reaching, so it can reach into corners for you and extend out automatically. And same with the mop pad extension, kicking the right mop out to the side to get along your baseboards and just fine tune and finesse that clean around your space. But on the other side of that coin, there are some things I'd want to see improved with this particular model. So I could say that it's too expensive, but Roborock has solved that issue by having multiple Qrevo devices in their lineup, so you can pick and choose which one fits your budget. If we leave that aside, looking at this particular model, the biggest thing I'd want to see improved is the object recognition and obstacle avoidance. It's just not very good compared to the competition. So in the lineup of where this vacuum falls, it's competing heavily with like the dreamy X30 Ultra, for example. And those vacuums on paper are going to be just about identical to each other feature set wise, but the Master has the extendable arm that reaches out, whereas the X30 Ultra has the removable mop pads and it has better obstacle recognition from my own experience. But anyways, that's the thing I'd want to see improved the most. And good news here is it should have all the sensors and hardware that it needs, so they can just refine that database and build out the image library over time. I'm not saying they will, but they should be able to do that, which is at least a little comforting. Other than that, you might notice some hairs tangling on the rollers at the ends, not in the middle at all, so it's not going to affect the performance, but you'll notice some longer hairs and threads may accumulate on the sides that you'll have to maintain. And lastly, for video monitoring, I really wish, since we have that camera, that we could take photos and videos. It takes photos of the obstacles when it's encountering them if you opt into that, but there's no way for us to take photos or videos around the house. Now, I actually don't use that very often, but I use it when I'm filming these videos to share with you guys. So that's really the use that I would have for that. But I'd like to see us have that option and flexibility if they're already giving us live video monitoring. But overall, really enjoyable vacuum to use, and it's great to see more competition in this space. And it's amazing that the Roborock Qrevo lineup has continued to expand across tons of different price points and feature sets.